Welcome to Digital Asset News, or Dan for short. My name is Rob, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. It is this weekend. It is Saturday. Thanks, everybody, for just stopping by. And what I want to do was I get a lot of questions, especially with what's been going on with FTX and the Contagion. And, of course, before that, Three Arrows Capital and Luna and Celsius and Voyager. And the question I get about is what's next? And the things that I am into are those at risk for collapsing. More specifically, iTRUST Capital. And I had gotten so many questions about it and just keep answering the same questions over and over again. I just decided to reach out to a person that could help me. And that would be the CEO of iTRUST Capital, Kevin Maloney. And I said, look, man, I got to have you on the show because I keep getting the same questions over and over again. I need a face to the name. I need you to come out here and just talk about what's happening. So I said, sure. And on top of that, of course, of all the different collapses that were going on, I got a lot of questions about taxes because they say, well, if I lost all those things, I mean, that sucks. We know that's awful. But the question then becomes, if I can't get access to my crypto, can I write those things off as far as losses on my taxes coming up for this year? And I said, well, I don't really know, but I know who does. And that would be David from COINLEDGER, which is the software that I use 2 years straight. So I invited both these gentlemen on, and I did a pre-recorded interview where I asked them these questions and many more. So I want to bring everybody up to speed about what's going on because I think we all know what's happening in the background. FTX is collapsing. I figure that there's going to be a lot of other different exchanges and projects also collapsing around it because of the contagion. And that's just the truth. I expect 2023 to be not a great year. I expect that to be a recession. These are all the things that we know. So let's just dig into who can we trust. And before we get going, in the ideals of transparency, you have to understand, I'm super biased. I'm super biased because the products that I talk about are the ones that I invest into. And the products that I actually talk about here also on this channel are the things that I am actually using. So for COINLEDGER, I use them 2 years straight. And it's been not flawless. I mean, everything's got little errors here and there, but it's a heck of a lot easier than going through all the different spreadsheets and things like that. From the time that I started it to the time that I actually put it over my CPA, it took about 30 minutes. So I trust COINLEDGER. And then with iTRUST, again, super biased because I've been using them for 2 years. And they've had no issues thus far. And that is the big thing. So again, with the issue of transparency, I will just say that these, of course, are both products that I'm using. Also, on top of that, just so nobody has any reservations, this is my account. And you can see I don't have that much. Why don't I have that much in iTRUST Capital, Rob? Because you talk about it all the time. It's because guess what? I can't put my life savings, I can't go sell my house and my cars and my kidneys and my kids and roll it all into iTRUST Capital for a tax-deferred Roth IRA. It doesn't work like that. The max that I personally can put in, because I use a backdoor Roth IRA, is $7,000 per year. So I've been doing that. Unfortunately, the market's been sucking. And of course, my value has been going down, which is not surprising. So I've got Ethereum and Bitcoin. This is the allocation. I have gold and silver. I know some people say, why'd you do that? Because I believe that precious metals has a place. Stellar, I'm not really sure about that one. I don't know why I even have that there, but whatever. And of course, assets, I have staked assets, which is Polkadot. So that is the big thing. And again, I must stress this enough. If this is not for you, this is not for you. Don't come to me and say, you know what, Rob, you shouldn't talk about this because it's not for everybody. Well, yes, I know. It's not for everybody. I diversify. Here is my portfolio to be super transparent. I got a lot in cash and I got a lot in real estate. I believe in both of those things. I also believe in cryptocurrency. That's why I have a good amount into that. But on top of that, I also have 10% in staking, 5% in my Amazon business. I got 5% in equities, 5% in IRA. Actually, that should be quite adjusted because it's obviously not anymore. I got 1% in stables, 5% in some DGen plays, 5% roughly here and there in the Masterworks, and 5% in the land. So again, transparency. This is what it is. And the big question that I have, of course, is, can we trust iTRUST because all the things that are going on? So this was the question that I asked Kevin. Listen, and then Kevin, just to reiterate, because maybe I didn't say it correctly. So the revenue generation from iTRUST, where does it come from? Because there is no more monthly fees. And there is no minimum balance to starts, as I believe. So where does the revenue generation come from? So yeah, so I asked Kevin these questions and many more, and this interview is about 24, 25 minutes long. So just, you know, it's a little bit on the longer side, but I needed to ask Kevin, I needed to ask David all of these questions about what's going on. So this is, again, pre-recorded. I'm going to stick around just to watch it with you, and I will be here for the Q&A section, and you can ask me any question that you want, and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. So without further ado, here is the interview. As promised, what I want to do is, especially with the changing landscape of the crypto market, I want to bring two individuals or two companies together and just talk about what's going on in the market, how their services are offered, and what is going on kind of like behind the scenes. So first of all, we got David Kemmerer, who is one of the founders of CoinLedger. David, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, and also Kevin Maloney, now CEO of iTRUST Capital. Kevin, thanks for coming by.
Hi, Rob. Thanks for having us.
Yes, I appreciate the both of you guys because you guys are quite boring. You are stable, and I like boring and stable right now, especially with what's going on. So we're going to ask just 5 questions. The first thing, of course, is who is iTRUST and CoinLedger? What do you guys do? Where are you from? Next one is who are the people that could benefit from iTRUST and CoinLedger? And has that demographic changed over time? Because a lot of things in the crypto market moves at the speed of light. What makes iTRUST special? What makes CoinLedger special? How is there Me Too companies out there? And how have you built a moat around yourself as people are looking for other options? Also, how are recent events in the crypto market changing your business practices? And then why should crypto investors prioritize their taxes and reporting their taxes? And then there's a little bonus question. What's the goal for 2023 for both of you, and what kind of new things you're offering? So first things first, who are you guys? What do you guys do? David, I'm going to start with you, and Kevin will hit you up second. David, what is CoinLedger? What do you do? How does this all work?
Yeah, appreciate you having us on, Rob. So my name is David Kemmerer. I was part of the team that started CoinLedger back in 2018. So it's been 4.5, coming up on 5 years. But CoinLedger is a platform built to make the crypto tax reporting process as easy as possible. And so, you know, we support hundreds of thousands of investors all around the world to help them calculate the taxes owed and how much income they've earned throughout their cryptocurrency kind of journey. And so that's kind of a little bit about CoinLedger, what we do. And, you know, I have the pleasure of leading the company and working with the amazing team we have every day.
Awesome. All right. So very simple. And of course, as a reminder for everybody, I use both of these products. I've used both these products for years, and I like these products. And I only bring things to you that I actually like and use. So Kevin, same question for yourself, my man. iTRUST Capital. What do you guys do?
Hi, Rob.
What's happening? Hello.
Hi, Rob. Great. And thanks for having iTRUST Capital again. So founded in 2018, the platform was launched in July 19. We had a very humble beginnings, raised about $1.3 million from friends and family to start the company. And the vision really was to allow people to self-direct, self-trade digital assets, cryptocurrencies within an IRA in that sort of tax-friendly framework. And you know, fast forward, we grew from 4,000 accounts the first year to 24,000 accounts to 45,000 accounts this year of working professionals. So you know, it is sort of akin to, we're sort of the on-ramp onto the freeway. We allow you to get into the cryptocurrency blockchain arena if you're crypto curious and you want to participate, and you get to choose the car, the lane, and the speed you want to go. Right? We don't pay commissions. We don't make recommendations. This is all self-trade, self-direct, 24/7. And so it's resonated, and it attracted a lot of working professionals throughout America that have participated and sat home and said, what could crypto do for me?
Yeah, makes sense. That's why I got into it. This will be my next question. Who are the people that could benefit from iTRUST and CoinLedger? And has that demographic changed over time, especially with what's going on? Kevin, I'm going to start with you again. How is this, who could actually benefit with iTRUST Capital?
So originally, when we opened up the company and we launched the platform, we had anticipated that we would get the early fanatical adopters that comprising mostly millennials that would open up, you know, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 accounts, and we got that wrong. it ended up being working professionals in the 40 to 65-year-old age range with very large balances, $50 to $100,000. And these people were doing rollovers and setting up Roth and SEP and traditional IRAs. How that has changed over time. November last year, we made an announcement to drop the monthly fee. We had a $29.95 a month monthly fee, and we dropped that, and we lowered the account minimum. And because our version 2.0 of the software that we launched allowed us to scale more efficiently, take on new accounts and service them more quickly and more efficiently with really good people, the account balance came, the monthly fee went away, the account balance minimum went down, and we started attracting the younger demographics. A lot of the younger demographics, as you know, want everything for free.
Sure.
So we can't do everything for free, but we did lower the barriers to entry, and that attracted additional folks that are planning for their retirement future. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then Kevin, just to reiterate, because maybe I didn't say it correctly. So the revenue generation from iTRUST, where does it come from? Because there is no more monthly fees, and there is no minimum balance that starts, as I believe. So where does the revenue generation come from?
Yeah, I mean, we're a software platform. We're not a registered investment advisor. We're not a broker dealer. We don't charge an AUM, assets under management fee. We don't mark up the spread and liquidity and charge a markup there. We don't do the monthly fee. It is simply a transaction fee. So we get 1% of any time you buy or sell. So if you buy $100 worth of Bitcoin or sell $100 worth of Ethereum, we get $1 anytime you buy or sell. And I think that that has been a big differentiator, along with our access to real people, educational resources, and just the overall client experience. To date, we've had nearly 2,400 Trustpilot reviews at about a 4.5 star rating, and we take that very, very serious. One of the key differentiators in the sort of the fintech arena, whether it's crypto or not, is fintechs in general are pretty good at scale and efficiency, but we've been terrible at onboarding and delivering consistent, continuous client service. And so part of our goal is to revolutionize the way we not only onboard, but continue to serve section of our in one quadrant of our office here in Southern California, and I get to hear the buzz on the phone. I get to hear the calls coming in. My cell phone's out there. I get calls myself as well. But being in the middle of it and actually having a real voice, speaking to people in good and challenging markets has been a real critical piece of the value add.
Great. So just to reiterate, I really would stress, hopefully other exchanges can look at this and go, this is a very simple process. There's nothing glamorous. If they just would have kept to this, I think it would have been a lot better. So that'll lead me to my next question. David, who are the people that could benefit from CoinLedger, myself included? But besides me, like who are you looking at that could benefit from tax services software? I have to ask the question because we have to ask that.
Yeah, it's really anyone who has any sort of complexity with their cryptocurrency transactions. So if you have dozens of trades, or you're earning staking rewards, or you have accounts on different exchanges or a handful of wallets that you're transacting with, it quickly becomes difficult to keep track of all of the movements of all these assets. You actually do need to keep track of that to accurately figure out how much money you've made or lost during the year. So if you have that pain point, right, and you need to report this legally on your taxes, CoinLedger is a really good platform. Just plug in your wallets and exchanges. We can read in the transaction history. We don't have ability to touch any of your assets. We just read it in and report on it for you and tell you exactly how much money, income you've made across all of your investment activity. Spit out a simple tax form that you can upload into platforms like TurboTax or just send off to your accountant. So it's just really anyone who doesn't want to deal with the headache of manually, figuring out how much money they've made and account for all that. Just plug that into CoinLedger and we can kind of take care of you. But our demographics, really anyone from 20 to 70, with the bulk of those people being in their 30s. But it's really anyone who just faces that challenge of, this is kind of complex and I don't want to figure this out on my own.
Yeah, I'm not. See, that's me. I'm not the guy to pour over spreadsheets all day long and try to figure everything out. If you want to make it, I will pay for time. I only have so much time on this planet, so I will gladly go with CoinLedger and go from there.
Exactly. So, and the other thing is, if you were to go with like an accountant to do this for you, they would charge you an arm and a leg more than CoinLedger will charge you to do this automatically for you. So, you know, anywhere from $50 to $300 just to grab your reports from us. If you need an accountant to sort through all of that for you, you know, that'll be marked up significantly. So we're trying to save you money as well by bringing automation to the space.
No, I'll go with that. So I guess this would be lead us to the next question. What makes iTRUST and CoinLedger special? What separates your respective businesses from the Me Too products out there? And David, since we just left off, I'll start off with you just one more time, and then we'll go back to bounce back to Kevin.
Yeah, similar with iTRUST, and it's great to be partnering with people who share similar thoughts. In the busy times of our business, because we understand that this stuff is complex and people have questions. So that's completely free to ask our support team questions. You know, there's thousands and thousands of questions that we field every single year. But then outside of that, you know, we support direct integrations with over 500 exchanges, wallets, and blockchains, which is very different from a lot of the players out in the space, constantly adding more. And then the other big thing that we pride ourselves on is kind of the user experience that we've crafted over the past 4.5 years. You know, we're trying to abstract all the complexities of tax reporting and rules away from the user. So it's just simply a few button clicks for the user to get where they need to go. So those are the high level things. We could drill real deep on deeply how we differentiate, but those are kind of the core pillars that, you know, we hold very deep in our hearts.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And then, like, well, one thing I'll just stress to everybody is that if you just want to start for free with CoinLedger, just go to the website, links in the description. You can check it out for free. When you want to generate a report, you can go from there. But just check out to see how easy it is, and then go and then make your move after that. So that would be it for that. So Kevin, same question to you, sir. What makes iTRUST special? What is the difference?
Yeah, very similar mantra as David mentioned. It's one of the reasons we're always excited to partner with really good people whose moral compass is generally pointing north, and has ethics and client assets at you know, putting them in a paramount position. I use CoinLedger for my cash accounts. I don't have a lot of gains this year, unfortunately, but it's certainly a great tool that you can plug and play. From an iTRUST perspective on sort of what makes us unique, better, or different is really our focus on, you know, client first, you know, safety, security, peace of mind, providing access to real people. I mean, real client service experts in the US during normal business hours, and that are super accessible. And that gives a lot of comfort. When you give access to people and information or educational content or tools like CoinLedger offers, it gives people that peace of mind. And we owe it to the global population, the domestic, you know, domestically here and abroad, the participants in the blockchain economy, to be more transparent, to offer these education. Platform and a highly regulated trust industry to deliver the most value for the clients, and that's never going to waver. We talked about it earlier, but we don't do, you know, risky. We don't, you know, do lending. We're just, like you said, we're on probably the less sexy side of the equation. We're one of those boring companies that just we're a software platform. You can trade, you know, buy or sell these 30 digital assets and precious metals, gold and silver, at will.
And it's important and paramount to actually to educate the consumer about what's going on. I think that's important right now, especially with the recent events. We saw Celsius collapse, we saw VOYAGER collapse, we saw BlockFi collapse, we just saw FTX collapse, and who knows what kind of contagion that is out there. So with all the things that are going on behind the scenes and in front and in real time, how is this affecting your business, the practices right now? Is there been any deviation, or what's happening?
Yeah, so big picture is it's super unfortunate that so many people and businesses are affected by the recent news and collapse of businesses around the globe. But we should really take this time to self-reflect and work with each other to really put our energy and focus on transparency, proper disclosure, compliance, and that ultimately will help rebuild credibility and trust in the marketplace. Well, how do we get there? Well, over time, and there's every 3 years. Crypto's been around 14 years. Every 2 to 3 years, we see these cycles where either bad actors or bad business models are weeded out. And sometimes you have good people with a bad business model. Sometimes you have bad actors, that start off trying to do the right thing. But ultimately, the markets are pretty efficient and people communicate quickly. As you can see, Twitter can take down a company in just hours or days. And so it's hard to hide very long if you're not doing things by the book. And if you are not disclosing things in the terms and conditions, which unfortunately most people don't peruse through, that's really a bad thing. And if you are disclosing, there was a lot of disclosure on some of these companies you mentioned that are no longer with us. And people, if they read it, would be a little bit shocked to understand where assets were being lent out. And so we need to do a better job of just communication, transparency, and giving people access to those tools. And so how are we, what are we doing that's different? Well, we're out there educating people. We have we're working on really just putting out a lot of content and videos just on education, not unsubstantiated, promissory hyperbole, just educational videos on, hey, did you know, if you're thinking about A, B, and C, here's some options. And we try to make ourselves readily available by phone and email to pick up a call and answer questions. And I can't stress enough how important it is to have and work with people that have customer service that will take your call or email. There's a lot of 1-star rated companies out there, exchanges, etc., that if you lose $50,000 or $100,000, good luck getting a call back or an email back. And you should know, based on 1-star ratings, it's just not what they do well. So we're trying to differentiate. We're not out there serving the globe. We're serving, the American public, working professionals that are crypto curious, don't necessarily know or understand how it all works, but are curious enough to participate. They're not betting the farm. They're not putting all their eggs in one basket,
Right.
But they're curious enough to put 5 to 10, 15% allocation into these areas where they feel have potential. And we're here to facilitate that.
Yeah, and I will tell you like this. I mean, there's an ethos, not your keys, not your crypto. And of course, people will say, well, Rob, well, how can you go with iTRUST Capital? Because that's not really what's going on here. I understand that whole process. However, I will say this, like I can't, like you just talked about, Kevin, I can't bet the farm. I can't sell my house, my wife, my kidneys to put everything into crypto in a Roth IRA. It's going to be a very limited amount, a very small exposure, and then I can work myself off from that, which is to me between $6,000 and $7,000 per year. So for that aspect, I will take a small portion and diversify and go that route. Now, one other big thing that led me to iTRUST was I had a lot of questions because I had never done a Roth IRA before. And what was great about with you guys is when I set up my appointment, you guys took 30 minutes with me. I'm not that smart. So it helped me when I had, a couple guys sat down and go, Rob, this is what would work for you. This isn't going to work for everybody. This is going to work for you. And I got to talk to a live person for about 30 minutes. So if you have questions about that, you who are watching this video, just book a call with iTRUST and go from there. So then David, this would actually lead me to the same question. The recent changes in the crypto, how have you guys changed your practices, if at all, and what's going on behind the scenes?
Yeah, the nice thing about CoinLedger is, we aren't a business that custodies assets or accepts assets or even has any ability to do anything with any customer's assets, right? We're just a software that's helping people report on their capital gains, losses, and income. So our business stays essentially the same. We have no exposure or anything. None of our customers have any assets with us. So it's kind of you don't have to trust us. We can't do anything nefarious with your money. We don't have your money. And so our business remains very much the same. Now, it's still just unfortunate what has happened in the industry, and that has ripple effects, right, with, trust that, people break. But, we're working to constantly build people's trust, and we've been doing that for 4.5 years. but yeah, that's really what we're doing. The one question that we will get, of course, is, hey, if I have losses on these platforms, FTX, BlockFi,
Right.
and I write those off on my taxes, it's largely a gray area. I would recommend actually, connecting with your tax professional. We have a whole list of them on our website that you can connect with, because if you haven't actually disposed of assets, that's a gray area. You technically haven't realized these capital losses or deemed them as worthless assets. So it's just something to speak to a professional about. I know a lot of people have that questions. We're happy to work with folks and get those questions answered, or point them in the direction to folks who can better answer those more complex scenarios when talking about capital losses.
Perfect. Two things. First of all, say that. So you guys have a list of CPAs who specialize in crypto and digital assets that people can contact.
Yeah, if you go down to the footer of our website and just click on our crypto accountant directory, we have a handful of folks. You click on the USA tab who are, crypto focused accountants. And so they'd be good folks to give a call on that front.
Oh, I got you. Actually, I'm right here. So just scroll on here and it looks like accountant directory. Very nice. Because I keep getting the questions. Now I can just refer them to this website. Perfect. And then David, since you're here, the question then would be for you, obviously, why should crypto investors prioritize their taxes and reporting? And this will actually, Kevin, this could be a question for you as well, but I'll start with David. Why should we prioritize our taxes? I mean, I have my reason because I don't like to go to jail and that type of thing, but why should we?
Yeah, that's the simple one. Is like, the reality is it's required by law, right? And I'm not in the business of trying to commit tax fraud, right? And that's a spectrum of risk that everyone has to decide for themselves. But that's the simple reason, right? Is legally you have to report income, gains, losses on your taxes. And so CoinLedger is a platform to do that.
Yeah.
Other maybe more user helpful things is, one, it can save you a lot of money in a market like this, right? If you've realized capital losses over the last 6, 8, 9, 10 months in the markets, you'd be a savvy investor to go and book some of those capital losses and thus reduce your total taxable income for 2022. And so what's very smart and what investors do typically in December is, tax loss harvesting. They're taking a look at their portfolio. What crypto assets do I have that are currently underwater, right? That are trading at a lower market value than when I purchased them. And if you harvest those losses, that's going to offset against other capital gains in your portfolio and thus drastically reduce your taxable income. So that's another reason, CoinLedger has a full tax loss harvesting module that you can use to quickly see completely for free, where in your portfolio do I have these losses that I can take advantage of. We do get the question all the time of how can I pay less taxes? So that's a good one. Another one is to use, IRA type tax deferral techniques like iTRUST Capital. So we love to partner with folks like that who can, kind of counterpunch with how can we save money? So a couple of reasons there. Hopefully that's helpful for people.
That is helpful. Okay, perfect. So then, Kevin, if you want to add anything here, because I mean, I got to tell you, like even in college, I would hear about I should really look into an IRA. I should really look into an IRA. And as a young kid, you're like, why do I need to do that? Hopefully I live to 59 and a half. I don't know if I'm going to make that, but why should, let's just say, anybody prioritize, say, an IRA and for tax purposes right now?
Yeah, and I think a lot of us think the same in college, just trying to get through that day, that week, that month, and the next event. But yeah, for the young people out there that are, serious about their future and maximizing the tax advantages provided within the confines of an IRA, it's an excellent tool. And I think that people should be, considering, and exploring how they can max out their IRA opportunities, and then also with our customers that have cash accounts, use tools like CoinLedger to help manage those gains and losses. So it is a legal, compliant way to avoid paying taxes. There are, limitations, like you said, $6,000 to $7,000 a year. But if you start now, regardless of age, over time, it's incredible the compound effect that happens. And right now, even though there's a lot of instability in the market, over the next year or so, as we potentially reach some sort of bottom, hopefully, we'll see. It might be a time where others are considering, diving in at a much lower basis. So as people tax loss harvest at the end of this year, as people consider what an IRA can do for me and my future, it is an incredible tool that not enough of us use to, create some stability down the road.
Perfect. And I will say this, I never thought of it this way, but I know a lot of people, a lot of subscribers, they complain to me about capital gains taxes, short-term and long-term. And I will remind everybody that within your Roth IRA, if you're doing any kind of trading, like we talk about on the channel, we have the rules. And one of those rules is to take profits. So as we see things, especially the crypto market, go up, this is not financial advice. I can't tell you what to do. I'm not a financial advisor. However, if at some point you think yourself, maybe I should take some profits here on the exchange or on my ledger, you can also take a look at your IRA account and start to trade within your IRA account and then lock in those profits as the crypto market starts to go down, buy at a lower cost basis and then bring it up. And what's great about that is there is no capital gains tax because that is within your IRA account. Just something to think about. And then, gents, the last one I'll have, and this is the bonus questions, and everybody wants to know this. What's coming down the pipe for 2023? What's new? What are you guys working on? And Kevin, I'll start with you. I know that you guys did a pretty great thing. You've actually done, came to fruition with the staking, which I'm doing right now, 9.5% APY. But what else is coming down the pipe that you can reveal here on the show exclusively?
Yeah, thanks. It is our goal right now is to stay out of the news, for negative things and
Yes.
and improper behavior and things like that. So we're not in the news, fortunately, for lending client assets, things like that. We don't. It's not part of our business model. We will continue to offer, a very transparent, compliant, and stable platform that provides access to, the real client experience, the client service agents that we have highly trained on our staff. We will continue to partner with credible third parties and that have customer assets in their best interest, and also launch new products and services. The latter would include, additional staking once we see some stabilization in the markets. We're not just a crypto platform, right? We want to be the world's best digital IRA platform that is seamlessly integrated, that allows, the working professionals domestically here to participate in not only the blockchain economy, but, fractionalized real estate, other yield generating products, the stocks, stock markets, etc. So as we evaluate partnerships, and we're in the middle of discussions right now to launch products and services that can benefit our customers way beyond crypto, right? Right now, we're mostly focused on crypto and precious metals, but that will expand, and we're pretty excited that and pretty confident that in the next 3 to 6 months we'll see some new services launch that I think will further allow our clients to diversify and then benefit from potential upside over the long term.
Fantastic. Keep me in the loop. Fractionalized shares of real estate. Sounds good. All right, David, what do we got coming on the pipe for this next year coming up?
Yeah, so a lot. I can't speak to everything in detail, but some things to keep your eye out for are robust tooling around NFT tax loss harvesting that we're building out to help folks who may be sitting on illiquid NFTs, but they present huge tax savings opportunity if you can dispose of them, compliantly. So that should be coming in December. And then we're pretty laser focused on a lot of new portfolio tracking type features, all completely for free. So there'll just be so much more feature functionality coming in CoinLedger that's completely free just for the average crypto investor when it comes to tracking their portfolio across, again, hundreds and hundreds of wallets, blockchains, and exchanges. So more to come. I'll have to keep you posted.
Fantastic. All right. So everybody, I want to say thank you again, gentlemen, for stopping by and just giving us some information about the business, what's going on with the business, how things have changed, and I actually say mostly how things have stayed the same. I want to say thank you so much for being just stable and boring. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us on, Rob.
Yes.
Thanks, Rob.
You're welcome. And then, of course, everybody watching the video, there's a link in the description. Take a look for iTRUST. And then also we have a link in the description, of course, for a crypto trader or for CoinLedger. Links in the description. You can find those quite easily. But that is it for today. So gentlemen, thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate it. And we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you. Have a good day.
I was muted, sorry. So that is it. So I hope that answered some people's questions. I don't think it answered everybody's questions because there's a lot of questions in the chat. So what we're going to do now is we're going to transition from the interview to the Q&A, and I'll answer everybody's questions to the best of my abilities, even though there may be some questions I would like to shy away from, but you can't. You can't shy away from tough questions. You got to go from there. So let's just jump into the Q&A. I start a bunch of them, so let's just go with that. First of all,